They're desperate to save Madam Webb. How desperate are they? Well, the mainstream media is so desperate that they're now calling the box office window that they're examining the 6-day holiday slate. That's because if they go one more day, they'll have to call it a week. And when they call it a week, well, it shows how weak the box office numbers are for this Sony failure. There are no webs being slung by this one, folks. And no, it is not swinging, it's only missing. So what does that mean for Marvel and beyond? Well, hang tight, folks. We'll explain. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Pro Channel. A joy as always. We, of course, here gathered together as a community to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, and pure, unadulterated excellence on the way. We are so happy to welcome back JFG Fat Steven back on the channel. Welcome, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me.
A pleasure as always. Steven, you are going to give us your review of this film, Madam Webb, in just a moment. But I want to show the shenanigans that are going on with the mainstream, folks. You're not going to believe this one. This really is just stretching as far as you can stretch to make something look better than it possibly could ever be. This out of Deadline by Anthony D'Alessandro. We love D'Alessandro, surely we do. Bob Marley, One Love jamming to $35 million plus. That's really not that great either. Madam Webb, still eyes, more than $20 million. But take a look at this weekend. Look at this, over a 6-day holiday frame. Now, why is it presented to us, folks, as a 6-day holiday frame? Because that's 1 day short of having to call it the first week. And, well, 20 million plus is not good for an entire week. So we have to present this sort of on the same level as a weekend, but it ain't a weekend. And a 6-day holiday frame is a heck of a stretch when that holiday was Valentine's Day. And anyway, let's get into this. Paramount's Bob Marley, One Love did $3.85 million yesterday, and though down 73% from its opening day weekend, that's because it was such a big first day with a record midweek of $14 million. This puts the Ronaldo Marcus Green directed biopic in the vicinity of $35 to $38 million in its 6-day opening weekend, or excuse me, 6-day opening. This is driving me crazy. I can't handle 6 days. Like let's do a 7-day week, or let's do a weekend. This 6-day nonsense is it's just there to make it look better than calling it what it is. Bob Marley is booked at 3,500 theaters. You get the idea. Meanwhile, Sony and Marvel's Madam Webb did $2.15 million on Thursday. Negative 64% for a 2-day of $8.2 million. It still could get to $20 million. Now, wait a minute. Hold on here. The headline says 20 million plus. Now, it still could get to 20 million, but man, oh man, those audience scores are rough. 2 stars on post-track so far for a 58% from general audiences. Overall, 53% guys attending versus 47% women. Again, the women won't show up. The women hate this film. We blame it on you women, not because we hate you women, but because women, you did not show up. And thus the mainstream is stuck calling 6-day holiday frames instead of just saying it's the week.
You got something to say to me, Cher?
What if I'd been lying?
All right, Steven, let's go to you. Women are not showing up. You know, nobody's really showing up, but women are not showing up. Men are trying to carry this thing. Do you think that's wise, you having seen the film?
I'll sum it up like this. It's watchable, but it's not memorable. The way the trailer presents it and the way we actually get to experience the film, it just feels like another attempt to add a character that probably no normal audience is going to know about. And if they do have any nostalgia, it's going to be from probably the 90s cartoon, and think they're going and getting an origin story, and it doesn't make any sense. It's boring. Sorry.
If you had to put a number on it, okay,
3.
So scale of 0 to 10. 10's the best movie you've ever seen. 0, you couldn't stand it. It made you vomit in the aisles. Where does this land?
It's a 4 to 4.5. That's how it is.
So below average.
Yeah, it's not Sony's best.
Well, let me present this to you, Steven, on this 4.5 out of 10 movie.
Okay.
This is fantastic to me. I love analyzing how the mainstream handles these situations. Mm-hmm. Remember, this is a film that stars 3 leading ladies, and therefore it is not allowed to be of its own terrible. Business Insider, Olivia Singh, the author here, Madam Webb is a spectacular failure and a sign we have officially entered superhero fatigue. And it goes on to talk about, I mean, it does say it's a bland script. It does say it's a one-dimensional villain, etc., etc. Then it goes on to say the unfavorable reviews don't bode well for the future of the superhero genre. Steven, didn't we just see Deadpool and Wolverine break the records for the most viewed trailer of all time in the history of cinema?
Yeah, and we also have the X-Men announcement as well from Disney, so the 97 series. So there's two. They're actually in major hype right now, and this doesn't have any of it except random tweets where people saying it wasn't a great movie, but I don't see why people are saying it's so bad. That's the one thing going around, word of mouth.
Well, let's set X-Men 97 to the side for the moment, because I think that's looking like it's going to be a woke disaster based on some stuff that came out yesterday. But just looking at Deadpool, here, let me give you an idea, Steven. You tell me what you think about the idea. And I bet the audience is going to follow right along, tracking perfectly with what we're saying. Steven, it seems to me that you make a good movie, people get excited. You make a bad movie, people don't show up. Madam Webb, you said is a 4.5 out of 10. People aren't going to go see it. Deadpool and Wolverine, people think that Ryan Reynolds puts out good stuff. They're willing to take a chance. Hugh Jackman going to be there. They like Hugh. And so I think it's that simple. I don't think that there's a superhero fatigue beyond the idea that if you attempt to turn superhero genre films into propaganda, folks aren't going to go see it. And if you attempt to make really bad movies and think, oh, well, we'll slap a cape on it and that's enough, I don't think that works anymore. I think that good movies get audiences and bad movies don't. Am I anywhere wrong on that?
No, you're not wrong at all. You need to be entertained, and there's a lack of entertainment. You could apply the hype for the next Godzilla movie, and you can compare the hype to, like you said, Deadpool, because we're getting back Wolverine. It's all crazy. But for this, I don't think it's fatigue. I think it's just pushing scripts that are just mediocre and hoping it turns around.
Wow, that is very simple and easy to understand. It's almost as if it makes sense. Steven, think about this. If they put out 5 really, really bad Godzilla movies in the future, okay, I hope they don't, but if they did, do you think we'd be seeing articles about kaiju fatigue, or do you think we just all acknowledge, hey, you guys are missing the boat with Godzilla now. Godzilla -1 was fantastic, and you're back to making not great stuff anymore. Is it that? It's just that simple, right?
Yeah, I think it's an excuse.
It's a shield, eh?
Yeah.
Well, let's take a look at this. Not Marvel, not their shield.
I haven't even seen that.
Rotten Tomatoes, as of today, folks, here's the score. This sucker is down in the gutter. 14% on the tomatometer and 54% audience score, but it gets worse. Let's take a look at why it gets worse. If we go to the tomato meter and we look at all critics, it's at 16%. If we look at top critics, we're at top critics right now. Top critics at 16%. All critics, 14%. What does that mean? Well, let's explain it this way. The top critics are those who are the established critics who they don't have to worry about losing their jobs if they put out a bad review. When we go to all critics, that's everybody else, and they do have to worry about it. And when that drops on all critics, which is almost always the opposite, that means that nobody fears retribution if they put out a bad review. Now let's get to why it's even worse on the audience side. Remember, that's the opposite way with audience on Rotten Tomatoes, and we have to explain this because Rotten Tomatoes has been justified to the point now that you need a PhD to understand this website and parse through the attempts to obfuscate whether a movie is good or not. On verified audience, that's going to be just the folks who took the time to get verified on this site, and they can be more easily manipulated, that number, because studios don't have to move the needle nearly as far because the number of individuals participating is so much smaller. 54% on that one. If we go to all audience, notice the change in the ratings, by the way. Verified audience, more than 250. And that would switch over, by the way, once they hit more milestones. When we go to all audience, more than 1,000 ratings, that's at 44%. That means that in this category where it's much harder to move that needle, you see a more significant drop. Now, Steven, you put this at a 4.5 out of 10 or a 4 out of 10. The average score from all audience on Rotten Tomatoes right now, 2.6 out of 5. Which, if you extrapolate that out to the 0 to 10 scale, is right there with what you're saying. Again, folks, verified audience, remember that can move the needle more easily with studios because they don't have to get that many people to vote in a particular way. That's at 3.2 out of 5. We take this all audience score at 2.6. So, Steven, you're right on the money. What would have made this film better, in your opinion? What could have saved this and made the Spider-Women more interesting to audiences?
Maybe have actual scenes with them wearing the spider suits than just 20 minutes at the beginning and then at the end of the movie. Oops, sorry. But that's literally it. And it felt like it was like watching a premonition show. Okay, this is going to happen. I'll prevent it. This is going to happen. I'm going to prevent it. Then final battle. Oh, it's over. So that
I remember a show on CBS a long time ago called I think it was Morning Edition, where a guy received a newspaper early and then he tried to go do things to affect the world because he could see what was going to happen via that newspaper. Is that what we're talking about here? These people have premonitions as to what's going to happen, and they talk about it and they share their feelings, and there's not a lot of action.
No, it happens randomly, but she always seems to use it to save the day, pretty much. So.
I see. Well, unfortunately, that's not going to be enough to save the day when it comes to Madam Webb. And I have to say, Stephen, now when this trailer the very first trailer when it came out, I did say that the trailer itself looked okay. And the reason I said that, I give all credit to the folks who do the marketing. Sometimes you can make a stinker really look like it's not going to be terrible. But in this case, it does feel like this is a mediocre movie at best. And I think it really draws attention to Sony and their need. They cannot coast on the Spider-Man franchise with these tertiary characters and hope that's going to be enough. I think it's also another indicator to Disney that the MCU, for all of the merits that one might find and empowering women in this genre, the women don't show up. Remember, folks, the minority of audience ticket purchasers for this film are women, the majority men. Men could not get Madam Webb across the line, and that's really something. So, Stephen, final thoughts on Madam Webb. Would you recommend this in the future for streaming? Would you recommend it to families if they're really bored this weekend? Or is this just a completely avoid and go watch something else because something else probably is better than a 4 out of 10?
Yes to streaming. If this was the only movie you people could agree on going out to the theater and spending that amount of money, then Madam Webb. But that's it. Streaming. Nothing really fantastic.
All right. Well, folks, that's a wrap for today. On your way out, consider clicking the like button, share, subscribe, and when you click it, you stick it to the algorithms. It's the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And, Stephen, you have a very successful gaming channel, in addition to the fact that you do all of the amazing artwork for both my channel, the WDW Pro channel, and the Valiant Renegade channel. Tell the folks out there about your gaming streams that you do.
Well, you can find pretty much on our platform, because I don't want to get anyone in trouble. And I pretty much just do long streams, new releases, old releases, betas, demos, whatever I get my hands on, whatever company sends me. Yeah.
Fantastic. I don't think many people know that you often know what's going on in the video game industry far before the rest. And so, yeah, it's an interesting thing that you do. We're glad that you do it, Stephen.
Thank you.
Folks, drop a comment down below and let us know your thoughts. Are you still planning to go see Madam Webb? What about Bob Marley, One Love? We did not really talk about that one. It's going to be interesting to see how that performs over the long haul. Let us know what you're interested in. Dune 2 coming up soon, and there are both positive and negative signs for that film. We will definitely be here with a review when it happens. We brought up X-Men 97. You can be guaranteed that we will indeed cover X-Men 97 when it releases, and more coming on that very soon with the wokeification of our beloved X-Men. All right, folks, that is it. We're out. Thank you so much for being the gigawatts that drive all of this. Wherever you are and whatever you're doing, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.
Oh.
What are you doing?
Well, you see, I wanted to get some inside scoops on Disney and their different corporations, if you know what I mean. So I figured by looking into this fistbowl and sucking it randomly with my own energy that I paid for, you paid for, I could do the whole experience where you can be a master and spy on your targets.
You're an idiot. If you want to get the inside scoop on Disney, or even other media organizations, you should check out thatparkplace.com and subscribe to WDW Pro's YouTube channel. That'd be way easier, more accurate, and, less dumb.
Are you saying I won't get accurate information this way?
No, you can't.
Who'd think?